if you're a college golf team and you don't want Charlie Woods, do you have a pulse? That's crazy. I mean, every single program in the world should want Charlie Woods just based off of the name alone. It doesn't matter how he plays at that point.
All right, Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports, brought to you by our great friends at Chevy, chevy.com/electric. Huge week, one of the biggest weeks of the entire year. It's Ryder Cup week. Dan's in Rome. Frankie's going to be in Rome. We got the gear on. We got clips all over social media. I saw Ryder Cup week was already trending on my little timeline on Twitter /X/ whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's just a huge week. It's excitement. I saw the teams rolling in their gear. I saw the Euros in kind of their Euro fashion. I saw Captain Zach Johnson up there answering questions. Dan was tweeting out that he's pretty goddamn serious. Haven't won in Europe in 30 years, since 1993, I believe. And boy, oh boy, is it just a big year. It feels like. I know we talked about it a ton. We had Keegan Bradley on last show, who was fantastic, going through the heartbreak. Just an unbelievable story, really, of the heartbreak of not getting picked for the Ryder Cup team, the phone call. We've talked about it a lot. I was going through a lot of the history. It's really been since 2012 that there's been a Ryder Cup that came down to the wire. That was when the Europeans came back. Been 5, 6, 10-point differences over the last several. It's closer than that up until the end some of the time, but feels like we're due. Pressure cooker, the whole deal, Rome. And yeah, I'm about as fired up as you can be, I would say.
The problem with this week is that it doesn't start until Friday. And
it's always a kick in the dick.
It's a kick in the dick, man. I'm here already. The vibes are high. And it's just Monday. And Monday, even of a major week, you're like, damn, these feel forever. So that extra day is tough. It's tough. I'm staring at 3 more days in Rome before the competition starts. The golf course is about 40 minutes outside the city, which is just long enough where you're like, man, that's a mission. So I think I'm just going to live here all week, just live in this media center. It's like I don't get this anymore as much as I used to. So I get to see all the other guys and mix it up with the boys, stuff that you guys hate. That's going to be me this week.
You're back to wearing the hats that don't fit you.
What do you mean? This one fits fine, no?
I think it looks all right.
Isn't that the style that you said you couldn't wear anymore? You were going more for like the trucker back?
Listen, we don't have trucker back Ryder Cup hats.
All right, but all I'm saying is the show after you
guys trying to move merch.
This huge breaking news announcement. You just went right back to wearing the hats that you said like you couldn't wear, the cool guy hats. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I also said I was quitting nicotine 25 times.
Right.
You know, it's a journey.
It's true. It's true. I want to know from you, what's your first impression of this golf course? You're there. You're at this. What is it called again? Marco Simone.
Marco Simone.
All right. Nice. So talk to us about like getting there for the first time, seeing the golf course, the clubhouse, the whole deal. What kind of vibe is it at this Rome golf course? Because you think about a Rome golf course, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah. So I went to Paris last week on kind of a whim with my wife, which was a lot of fun. I've got some notes about that trip, which I want to discuss. First of all, just being which, Frankie, I don't know that. Have you been to Paris?
I haven't been to I haven't been to Europe aside from Scotland.
I don't know that.
Well,
I don't know that you can
Australia that one time.
That's true.
Yeah,
forgot about that. I don't know that you could survive there. Just
that's a callback to when Hannah Cook thought that Australia was in Europe. By the way, so for any of the listeners, it's a very deep cut. But Hannah Cook thought that. She goes, "Oh yeah, I've been to." She goes, "You guys have been to Europe. You guys have been to Australia, right?" So that was a tough one.
Imagine some of the 37 people that were watching that live stream definitely remember that.
I was gonna say that's a small audience there, but appreciate
it was our
it
live
nonetheless.
stream, by the way, that was our live stream.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But just in terms of volume, I didn't realize how loud Americans are in general until I was in Paris. We were walking down the street, and every 5 seconds, I got people turning around, basically telling me to shh. Like you can't talk louder than this in Paris. Like you need to be like very demure. You can't be like very excited about things. You need to be very coquettish was the word of the week. So it's nice to be able to raise my voice a little on this podcast and get excited about things, because I had to pretend to be very, very, sophisticated and not very impressed in Paris.
I think that's also just a little bit of an anti-US thing, because they say everywhere that the minute an American walks into a room, they just know you're American no matter what you do, how you dress, no matter what. So I think that might be a little bit of just, hey, American, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. One time I walked into a store and I kind of tripped and I made a comment kind of loud, and the guy looks at me and he goes with a very French accent. He goes, "Careful." So he didn't even try to go French. He knew exactly. Flew this morning to Rome. Listen, Rome, there are certain cities, there are certain names that just elicit some feelings in you. Rome is humanity. Rome is
Right.
the cradle of Western society. So I'm looking forward. I think I'm going to go into the city tonight. It's about 40 minutes outside. So Rome has got a big circular highway that goes around the city. That's probably like predates Christ. I don't know what the history of that highway is. But the golf course and the hotel are kind of just on the outside of the city. So it's about 40 minutes out. It looks like California, I would say. I mean, the weather here is just perfect. It's going to be about 80 degrees. The golf course is very, very large. There's a hotel on site that all the players are staying in, and it was built for the Ryder Cup. So a lot of like natural amphitheaters, a lot of areas where you can see multiple holes. I think the build out around the first tee is the biggest they've ever done before. But yeah, they built a golf course to hold spectators. So I think it's going to be awesome. I don't know exactly how it's going to play. There's not the big difference in the American and the European side statistically like there was in France, where like they could just narrow it and make it super penal because we had a bunch of guys who hit it far and crooked and they had a bunch of guys who hit it short and straight. Like there's not as many, the golf is not as wide. So I don't think the setup's going to be as big of a story. There were no fans allowed on site today, so I won't really know until tomorrow whether people are going to be here or what the vibe is on that sense. But the Ryder Cup has made it to Italy. It's surreal that it's finally here. We've been talking about it for so long.
All right, electric cars. Electric cars been in the news, in the movies probably too, but in the news, I feel like a lot lately. A lot of spotlight going on these bad boys. And Chevy has been in the electric car game for a decade. They've been making cars for a century. They've got a nationwide dealer network of over 1,900 certified EV dealerships and over 5,550 EV trained technicians. And look, with an electric car, especially these EVs from Chevy, maintenance is lower. It's absolutely lower. It's one of the perks of getting one of these bad boys, but you still need it. And when you do need it, you need one of these certified technicians that understands the EVs, Chevy, and Chevy's got tons of them, which is really nice to see.
Incredible. See the bow tie, you just know it's quality. At the end of the day, the Chevy bow tie is it's American. It's as American as Old Glory.
It's an American
And
week.
It is an American week. It's Ryder Cup week. Yeah, that's a great point, Trent.
You know,
That's a great point. You hop in your Chevy, you watch the Ryder Cup, you root on your country. What's better than that?
what's better than that? Nothing.
Chevy.com/electric. That's what might be better than that. So go to that link right now. Check them out. Chevy's been supporting us for years at this point, and we'd like to support them. They've been doing it for, like I said, a century. They've been doing it for that long. They've been making cars. They're at the forefront, and you should go check them out. So go to Chevy.com/electric, bow tie, American cars, EVs. That's Chevy.com/electric.
I'm ready to, as a viewer watching it stateside, I'm ready to stomp my feet and complain about the times of when it's airing. It's just tough, you know. I wish it were regular, but I'm gonna have to stay up on Thursday night into Friday morning. I'm just gonna stay up all the way through as much as I can until I pass out. I'm just gonna stay up. I think they tee off at 1:30 a.m. Eastern time, so I'm just gonna stay up. Obviously, watch the first tee shots, see as much as I can of those first couple matches. And then at a certain point, my body is going to take over and it's going to put me to sleep. So I'm excited about it. I'm obviously very excited about the Ryder Cup. This one is going to be great because I do think the Americans are going to win on foreign soil for the first time in 3 decades. I am not excited about it messing up my sleep cycles. I'm just going to be upfront about that.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep shift. I don't have a choice. I just decided I got to sleep shift. I think I'm going to try like Wednesday night to not really sleep, to like force myself to get up after like 5 hours of sleep so that I'm tired. So then Thursday night, I'm going to try to go to bed by like 6 or 7 o'clock and then get up. I'll miss the first hour or two, but I think I would rather see the end of the matches when it gets heated. I know there's all the drama and the hoopla and the pageantry around the beginning of it, but 10:30 p.m. here, I can't be waking up at 10 o'clock at night and watching golf because they play for fucking 14 hours. So even if I'm up and I catch the beginning of it, it's not like you're catching a football game or a World Cup game like we did for the Argentina World Cup final. It's like I got to be up forever. So I think I'm going to just probably miss the first couple hours, get up at like 1 a.m. here, and then try to grind all the way through.
Well, listen, So I'm going to be up. I'm going to stay up because I like to see the first tee shots. I like all that pageantry. We almost got to cover it as shifts. So I'll have the beginning for sure. I'll be awake. Dan will be there. So he'll hopefully be adjusted by then. I'm sure he will be. But we just can't have a moment where there's dead time and, Rory is making huge putts and yelling at the crowd and we're just radio silent. That's what we can't have.
This could be a tag team. We're going to be tag team world champions this week. Yeah, it's fucking
What's
weird
social
one.
media Rob going to be doing?
Yeah, Rob. That's what I was thinking. He's
Sleeping?
he's in it. He's in it.
Eating
I mean, at the
breakfast.
Long Island Classic, he missed the first tee shot because he had to get a cup of coffee. So what's he going to do at 2:00 in the morning during the Ryder Cup?
This dude's not going to change his schedule one bit, I don't think. I think he's just going to be like, I go to bed at 11 and I wake up at 9. So whatever I can catch during those hours,
I didn't choose for it to be in Italy. You didn't ask me. Yeah, that's going to be a tough situation for him. And I think he's got to be up for 24 hours. This is like his bad week of work. That's like he's got to be up for 24 straight hours for 3 straight days. I don't know if that goes against labor rules and regulations.
We're a private company. I don't know if those
He
apply
could
to
be
us
off
anymore.
next week.
I think
Yeah,
we're
next
like
week.
forcing him to be up for just 72 straight hours.
It kind of feels like Dave's abandoned that. There was a big concern for years about the labor situations that we weren't abiding by legal practices, and I think that's out from the latest that I've read. I was looking up a little bit of Ryder Cup history just to get myself jacked up. The Ryder Cup was first contested in 1927 at Worcester Country Club in Worcester, Mass. Samuel Ryder, businessman, donated the trophy to the event. That's why we call it the Ryder Cup. The USA and Great Britain played against each other essentially until 1979. The first 5 Ryder Cup matches were all won by the home team. USA wins in the US. Great Britain wins over in Great Britain. There was a big break during World War II, and then post-World War II, which was kind of when there was this boom of American golf dominance. The U.S. fucking dominated it until 1979 when they said, we got to get all of continental Europe in. And then after that, we had this influx, this sort of emergence on the scene of the Spanish golfers, of Seve, of these guys that came in. And since 1979, Europe has won 11 Ryder Cups and tied, a.k.a. retained, just like happened at the Solheim Cup this week. Another one, and the U.S. has won 9. So it's basically been 11 and a half to like 9.5 since 1979. Obviously, we've been doing the show and relevant for the last 3 Ryder Cups, and we've had 2 out of 3 U.S. victories. But like I kind of talked about off the top, there was a 19-9 was in Whistling Straits. We were all there for that. Before that, it was, I believe, 17.5 to 10.5 in Europe, in Paris. Before that, it was Hazeltine when we had Patrick Reed versus Rory, Phil and Sergio in their singles match, which came down. That was absolutely electric. The U.S. won that one 17-11. 2014, Glen Eagles was the Tom Watson, Phil Mickelson press conference. That was 16.5 to 11.5 from Europe. And then, like I mentioned, the kind of photo finish last one where the U.S. blew the 4-point lead. Rory almost missed his tee time. I believe that's how he met his wife. Ended up getting there because he had time zones incorrect. Europe storms back. Justin Rose is making bombs. We had our guys kind of falling apart down the stretch. I remember Tiger Woods, who was in the anchor match, I believe against Francesco Molinari, got left hanging in the fairway with his hands on his hips while Martin Keimer, who sucked leading up to that Ryder Cup, made that putt to win the Ryder Cup. He made that like 6-footer. That was 14.5 to 13.5 Europe. So that's the most recent history. Obviously, we've talked about how it's been 30 years. The U.S. coming off just a trouncing last time. And not only was it that trouncing, but the President's Cup in 2017 was when they basically won before they even went to Sunday. So there's been a couple instances, it's felt like, where the U.S. is going to enter this next phase of just pure dominance. It felt a year and a half ago, when we were talking about Liv and the guys were leaving and Sergio and Poulter, and none of these guys are going to be on the team anymore. The U.S. was going to win by $1 trillion. Most recent that I looked, U.S. is like minus 120 and Europe is like plus 130 or something, which is about, for an event like this, if you factor in the home course advantage and how that has mattered, clearly the U.S. is a favorite, but it's pretty fucking close to a pick'em going into this thing.
Yeah, it's tightened a lot in recent months. I think there was, especially in the immediate aftermath of Whistling Straits, there was almost like an existential dread, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? These guys are gone. Who's going to backfill? Well, the answer is that Victor Hovland progressed into one of the 5 best players in the world. Ludwig Aberg was playing the Big Tens at Texas Tech 3 months ago, and he's all anybody can talk about here on site. And then you had a guy from Georgia in Sepp Straka who started playing great and is now representing Austria. So they kind of picked 3 guys, and then you've got the middle of their team in like the Tyrrell Hatton, Tommy Fleetwood range, and Shane Lowry's now rounding into form. So it's been the perfect storm for Europe, and they definitely have the mojo. It was interesting. Shane Ryan, who wrote a book that we've talked about, Riggs, a number of times about the Ryder Cup. If you like the Ryder Cup, you should definitely read it.
This week. Highly recommend this week, man. They do such a good job of going through, tying the history to the current state of it and the different strategies, and then they get data golf involved. It's fucking really interesting.
Yeah, so Shane's great, and he asked an interesting question about how the strategy from Steve Stricker in Wisconsin was to kind of let these guys do their thing. Was like, we've overcomplicated this in the past, and we have the better players on paper. So why are we telling them when they need to be at this dinner or that dinner? Why are we telling them, oh, you can't bring your swing coach, you can't bring your trainer? They basically let the guys do what they do, and it worked. Europe goes the exact opposite way, where all 12 of them played the BMW. They've all been like hanging out a ton. They lean all the way into the team format, and it's kind of almost like a cultural difference where the Europeans are all about camaraderie, whereas the Americans, like, do you guys agree that they kind of feel like they have almost like a villain like sort of energy, like a sort of, they're frattier, they're definitely more like irreverent, they're brash, and I think it's because they have this young group of guys who don't have the scar tissue of losing so much.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's definitely right. It's been, I feel like, my whole adult life, when I've been a Ryder Cup fan, it's been intrinsically known that Europe just gels, that they just fucking gel. They're just the guys. When they show up, they've got that swagger. When they chirped after 2018, they chirped our friend Alan Shipnuck after the presser about Rory walked in there, was like, where's Shipnuck? Because in 2017, he had basically said, we're ushering in this era of U.S. dominance. And there were comments early on in Tiger's career about the Ryder Cup. And on the other side, Rory, I mean, those comments were going a little bit viral this morning, of Rory backtracking on some of his comments from 2009, being like, these are just exhibition matches. You'll never see me going around and fist pumping. And once you get into this environment, the Europeans with the Spanish connections, and they kind of galvanize around like what we talked about at the beginning when you're in Paris, which is there's a bit of an anti-American, flair out there in general in the world. Like, we're kind of, in a lot of ways, militaristically and culturally, like, we're kind of the top dogs, and people at the top of the mountain, have a lot of enemies, and we're USA, and we're kind of arrogant. Our guys like make a lot of the money and win the scoring title or win the money title on the tour. And like, that's kind of where we're at. And then here are the Europeans that are fucking scrappy, and they have their kind of, they have had their historical pairings, and it took Steve Stricker and sort of that approach of like letting the guys do what they do and letting them figure out a way to kind of gel on their own, which was the exact opposite of what Tom Watson did, where Tom Watson was sort of like rigid. We are better. We will play better golf. Here's what we're going to do it my way. I don't care about you guys weighing in. We're a machine, and that's just not how it worked. Whereas, they talked about with Azinger, and they talk about with Stricker, and those guys were making Stricker cry left and right after they won about how he's the best captain. And if they can sort of combine, the U.S. team can combine this dominance where we're pretty much favored on world rankings, we're favored just going in on the betting, we're favored. If they can sort of combine that with that secret sauce that the Europeans have figured out on how to come together and build team chemistry, then they shouldn't fucking lose, is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I think Zach Johnson is basically Steve Stricker, and Steve Stricker is a vice captain on this team. So it's that DNA is still there. I think it's going to be run very similarly. And there's just a lot of duos on this Team USA squad that's like the strong point. Like, the Europeans are everybody's buddy, and we're all in this together. Team USA is that to a degree, but it's also the duos. It's these 2-man teams that are just like, we've been playing together forever. A lot of them have been friends forever. There's a comfort level there. They want to win. They want to represent Team USA in a way that's dominant, and they don't want to regress from Whistling Straits, right? So they want to continue that. They want to keep going. And I get that there's a lot of talk about Team Europe because of Aberg and all of these guys kind of rounding into form at the right time. I just think Team USA is a favorite for a reason, and they're going to do almost exactly what they did in Whistling Straits. Maybe their margin's not going to be as huge, but I just think they're going to go in there and they're going to win.
You guys think we fielded the best team we possibly could for Team USA?
Apart from Keegan, should have been on the team except for Burns.
You alluding to a little Bryson, maybe even a little Bryson.
I've just been seeing a lot of
controversy
Bryson
coming
out
up.
there, and that, they didn't give him the chance. Just because Zach basically said that he didn't factor in any live events. He just factored in the events that he thought had merit, which, I guess at the end of the day, you can go based off of strength of schedule or strength of field. But I don't know. I just I see these videos of Brian Harman signing golf bags out there and Wyndham Clark out there, and just something about it just feels like we left some firepower at home. And I'm not saying specifically Bryson. I see this team, and it's not the Whistling Straits team. It's not that team that we're trotting out there. It feels like the 2009 Yankees were Whistling Straits, and you're like, oh, the Yankees are going to go back on. The Yankees win in 2009. They get all these huge names, big boys, CC Sabathia, Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter's there. All the guys are there. Mark Teixeira. They spent the most money in sports history. And now all of a sudden, you're like, oh, they're going to go on this run for 20 years again, just like they did in the 90s, and they're going to win 4 in a row. And then they just haven't won a single thing since, because they got a little too cute with it, and they became the Yankees, and fucking Brian Cashman thought he was too fucking big for his britches. I don't know, man. Something about this team I know they had nothing to do with it. I know they had no choice because they qualified. Brian Harman and Wyndham Clark and these names that you're not used to seeing. Fuck, man. It's just something about it. It doesn't feel like Team USA. It doesn't feel like the Yankees.
If you took out Clark, Harman, and Burns, and you put in Bradley, Bryson, and DJ, you think that team the team has more has
those
more
are
power?
Names. That's 2009. Those are names. Those are big boys. Those are put the bright lights on. We're gonna fucking show you what we can do. I don't care how you've been playing. It's a Justin Thomas argument.
Right.
It's like, JT. I don't care how they've been playing. I don't care who they've been playing against. I'm talking skill set. I'm talking grab your nuts and squeeze every little bit of fucking juice out of them. Who are you going to put on who are you putting there? Who are you putting in the batter's box? Fucking Brian Harman or Dustin Johnson? Come on.
Doug Ferguson just gave me a note that says you have a great indoor voice, which I think that's Doug Ferguson. I think that's sarcastic.
No, I think that might be sarcastic.
And I know they had no choice. And listen, Brian Harman, this might be his fucking huge week. The guy clearly stepped up to the occasion at the Open. He clearly did. Everyone was screaming at him, saying they couldn't see him. It's one of those things where I think this guy, it's all going to rest on this guy's shoulders. This is his moment. The little guys are going to have to step up, because there's way too many things that you can say, oh man, this is why we lost now. He's the guy. It's like him, it's Sam Burns, it's Wyndham Clark. These are the guys that you're going to be able to pick out and be like, that's the difference from Whistling Straits till now. So that's a lot of pressure, and that's a lot of unknown. That's the only thing I'm nervous about. I still think they're going to win. I'm just a little bit nervous. There's a lot of unknown. There's just as much unknown on our side as there is on Europe, I think.
There is. I just think, like, dude, Brian Harman has played so solid this year that it's all, it's like, I feel like he's a way less of a question mark out there than JT, than Sam Burns. I feel like,
but in a team event, like playing alternate shot and do like these guys, they've performed. JT has performed. Dustin Johnson has performed out there.
He has, but it's also like the reason they put so much emphasis on the majors is like Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman performed under the most intense pressure that like they could have, and they did it very recently and have played incredibly consistently throughout the year. And it's like those guys going in there, anything could fucking happen. But those guys go in there, just give me less concern, like I said, than a couple of these guys that are not only going in with Ryder Cup pressure, but are like, they've been getting a little bit of heat online. Like, should Keegan have been picked over Sam Burns? Should JT have been picked just because he was a boys club member and that? And I think, whereas these other guys, it's like they're almost relieved of it, because it's like they qualified on their own. There were no decisions that had to be made, and they didn't just qualify. They were like 3rd and 4th in the points. They're both top 10 in the world. I do know what you mean, and it is the Justin Thomas argument, which I've made as well, which is like, this guy is proven in that environment, proven in that team room. When you ask Jordan Spieth or Colin Morikawa or Ricky Fowler, who do you want next to you when you're in the fucking behind enemy lines and people are doing the Viking clap and fucking being mean to you? Who do you want on your side? And their answer is going to be Justin Thomas's. And it does seem a little ridiculous that DJ went 5-0 2 years ago and was not even considered for the team. And I was up in Wisconsin. I was at Lambeau yesterday, which I'm going to talk about. We were talking Ryder Cup with a bunch of the locals. And there was a guy that almost had tears in his eyes telling me about when he was on the first tee in Sunday singles, I believe, and Bryson drove the green and made an eagle. And he's like, that was like the highlight of my sporting career. We were in tears hugging each other about how cool that was. And he's like, that guy's not even a consideration. And DJ, not even a consideration. So that part of it is fucking kind of crazy that those guys brought the heat. They brought the moments. They brought the juice, as we like to say, and they weren't even considered for the team.
I'll be honest, Brian Harman fires me up. I think I get that he's 5'7" and it's hard to go across the pond with a guy like that, but he's like a Kevin Kisner to me. He's like same type of like, he loves.
He's got that dog.
Yeah, that I like when I see a guy like that, I have zero concerns about a guy like that. Like we won the Open Championship and he was like, fuck these people. They don't want me to win. They're all rooting for this other guy. And he doesn't have a huge bombastic game like Bryson, but if we're talking about a guy I would go to war with, Brian Harman is absolutely on that list, just the way he reacted at that Open Championship. And I think he's going to gel well in a team environment. I just think he's going to do well in a situation like that. Wyndham Clark to me is a question mark. He's definitely super like confident and cocky. Like you saw parts of that at the US Open when he would hit a shot and fucking twirl his club. I don't know how that's going to go over in a team environment. I have no idea, but I just think, I don't know. Brian Harman, I think, is going to have a pretty good week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Harman's got a little polter in there as well, where it doesn't look pretty, but he finds a way to get the ball in the hole, and he doesn't really beat himself. He doesn't hit wild shots. So he's not going to gift holes away. I think he'll be valuable, particularly an alternate shot, just a steady guy like that. Yeah, Wyndham Clark is definitely a question mark for my. Wyndham Clark is a question mark. I just wrote my rankings of everyone in the field, and I had him. I think the second lowest. I think American, just above Burns, because he hits the ball. He has some wide misses. He's statistically like the most crooked driver of anyone here. And I just think the way they're going to set up the golf course might be penal for a guy like Wyndham Clark. So yeah,
could be a problem. You get a little bit out of sorts, and that rough looks preposterous. I saw, I think it was one of your former colleagues, Dan, that was breaking down what they did at in Paris, and how it wasn't just that they were like, oh yeah, let's do thick rough and like kind of narrow fairways, but that they literally made sure they moved the ropes like 30 feet farther away from the fairways, because the Americans not only were less accurate, but they had such detailed data that extra 30 feet, they didn't want it to be where the gallery would trample it down. They wanted it to be incredibly punishing. So they literally moved the galleries in 2018 30 feet farther away, and that ended up playing a huge factor into the Americans just being fucked when they would miss with drives. So they're going to have all that. They're going to know, like you said, it's not as big of a difference, but the home field, it matters. And yeah, I mean, it's tough when those guys just qualify and get it, but it's wild to think that a couple of those guys who were just bringing it and were an enormous part of the team 2 years ago just aren't even on the radar.
It's an enormous part of it, a historically good team. An enormous part of a historically good team is not there.
But it's an interesting discussion.
That makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion, though, what Frankie's saying about the JT thing, because there weren't even captain's picks until the 80s, and then it was 2 captain's picks forever. And then they thought Azinger was like crazy for asking for 4, and now it's 6. So it used to be that, like, by and large, the Ryder Cup was a reward for a really good stretch of play, and it didn't matter what you've done in the past. It was kind of like a cookie at the end. Now it's much more, gone that way of you have to play incredible to avoid relying on a pick. There are 5 assistant captains on the American team. That just seems like a lot of assistant captains. 5. There's 6 captains / vice captains and 12 players.
Who are all the captains and vice captains?
It's like the most central casting, like the era of losing Ryder. So Steve Stricker, Davis Love III, Jim Furyk, Fred Couples, and Stuart Sink.
Oh man.
It's just like, it's just like a boondoggle. I mean, 5 assistant captains. They just get like free gear and nice hotel rooms.
The wives just want to go on a trip to Rome.
Like, what are 5 assistant captains going to do?
that isn't a preposterous assortment of people to go over there. And like, how is there room for all these people? It's going to be, I mean, I guess they need a guy per group to kind of report back to what's going on, or I don't know. Your hair may grow fast, but after going to Sport Clips haircuts, you'll wish it grew even faster. That's because Sport Clips has the best seats in hair. That's right. They got the best seats in hair. That may or may not be because they happen to be right in front of TVs, playing sports all day, every day. Or you can mention everything's back. Football's back all over the place. Ryder Cup weekend. We're going to have hockey and NBA. We're going to have baseball playoffs, all kinds of stuff going on at the same time. So you can just sit there, get your hair cut, not miss anything, which is why Sport Clips every day is clippers and curveballs, high tops and Hail Marys, even waves and wickets if you're into that kind of thing. So we love Sport Clips, boys.
It's a wave and a wicket. Cricket?
A wave and a wicket.
I think a wicket might be cricket.
Wave and a wicket. That's like dentist.
There's a huge cricket tournament right across from Borelli's this week. It's like the biggest cricket conglomerate at Eisenhower Park or something. I don't know. I do know that you got to get your hair cut. I'm getting mine nice and tidied up before Italy.
I'm getting mine. I got to get mine cut too. Yeah, you got to. You're gonna be in so many pictures. You're going on the trip of a lifetime. You got to have a good haircut.
I got it. Yeah, I've been actually like growing the top a little bit just to like give me a little bit more, and I'm gonna go with like a nice like low fade right here. I'm trying to be like I usually go with like a 2 on the sides. I think I'm gonna go 1.5, maybe even a 1, just to really because I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks. Unless I wait and get one in Italy, that'd be pretty cool.
That's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
You know what's not dangerous? Going to Sport Clips.
Right.
Going to Sport Clips.
That is true.
They're just, boys, they're the pros in men's hair. That's why you go
Why
there.
would I wait?
No, you don't need to wait. They check it out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. So, yeah, come watch an endless stream of sports on TV while getting an awesome haircut. Sport Clips, it's a game changer. Don't wait till Italy. Go right now. Go to Sport Clips. They are a game changer.
This Ryder Cup in Italy, because I'm just thinking of all the expenses and just how expensive this is for the PGA of America. Well, I guess they're not putting it on, right? Who puts this one on? Is it Europe that takes all
Ryder
this expense
Cup
and revenue? Okay. Because I'm just thinking like this, with this time zone difference and like when it's going to be playing on TV, you have to be a golf fan to watch the Ryder Cup this year, right? You're not getting your general sports fan that's going to turn on the TV at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night and watch the Ryder Cup. You're not getting like the Dave Portnoy's tweeting about the big moments at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. You're just not getting that. No. That's a fact. We can say, yes, we will, all we want. People are going to be sleeping. They're not going to care.
Well, especially on the weekend when it's football.
They'll just wake up and have a recap.
And I know I act like America's a fucking world when I say something like that, but like we're talking about a huge sports watching population of people that want to watch the team that they think is going to win, and they're not going to be awake for it. I just don't think it's a very, very strange thing. I can't imagine what that does to like the revenue and all the TV ratings and all that stuff. It's got to be like they got to be kind of pissed about it, right? That you spend all that money and like a big majority of people are not going to watch it live.
You probably package the broadcast deal, like multiple Ryder Cups. So like you pay a premium for the American one, knowing that you're going to get the European one. But yeah, I mean, I think on the flip side though, like this is it's like the Masters where it's like anyone who has like some sort of tangential tie to golf, like finds a way to come to the Ryder Cup. It's sort of like a golf Coachella. So yeah. I think like, especially in Rome and with all the travel opportunities, I think you're gonna get a lot of big wig corporations who send their CEOs like, hey, Rolex, you guys want to go and pay all this money? Yeah. So I think it's kind of like a dream in that way. But it will be a very different feel than Bethpage in 2 years.
Bethpage has to might make 5 times more revenue than Italy.
Certainly
right?
here. Certainly here.
TV and fucking people going there. It's gonna be preposterous, the difference, I think. Whatever they say the TV ratings are for this one, I think they're just going to lie.
But I mean, there are people in Europe who watch TV who are like also going to go to this. Like there's huge sports fans in Europe, like in Spain, like they
for sure. I'm talking about American. I'm talking about American sports fans, the general American sports fans, money spending, watching sports fans. I just think you're losing almost all of them, like the generic, just American sports fan that would have tuned in, obviously, if it wasn't such a crazy time zone difference.
I do think you were talking about TV audience, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I do think, because I mean it starts at 1:30, but people will wake up and we'll turn it on. Early on it's going to be like me and 15 other people on
And
Long
not
Island
Rob.
watching that thing. Not Rob, but I it's like, but once the day starts, tons of people are going to flip it on. Like there's going to, even this Sunday morning, like when it's finishing up Saturday morning, people will just turn it on. I do think for the first couple hours, you're definitely missing out on the American sports fan, because they're like, I got to go to work tomorrow. I can't fucking be up at 2 a.m. not going to sleep. That's just not something you can do.
When will it end? When will the final putts be dropped? Like, what time do we think?
I think it's around 6 o'clock over here, so it should be around noon, which would be right before NFL football kicks off.
That's got juice to it. That's
especially
like an appetizer to NFL football Sunday being the Ryder Cup is nice. That'll do some numbers.
A little nationalism with your
feeling
coffee.
a little better about it. You feeling a little better about
Sunday,
the year?
that's got numbers. I'm just thinking like Saturday, 6 o'clock in the morning, it's gonna be real tough to text your buddies and be like, "You see that fucking putt?" They're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" And it's the Ryder Cup. It's the biggest moment in fucking golf for the whole year. It's the Ryder Cup. It's it. It's the big thing. They're gonna be like, "Why are you watching that right now? It's 4:30 in the morning." It's a very weird thing.
Yeah, the first like 2/3 of it will get nothing. But then I think Saturday and Sunday, right? Like that 10 a.m. Eastern time.
That's big time.
Until like 1 p.m. is gonna have some juice, I think, for sure.
Sure. All right. That's got juice.
All right. We've got a quick little blurb about the Woods family. Charlie Woods with a final round 66 down at the Nota Begay Invitational Classic, whatever this thing might be. He's just continuing to reinforce his connection to the Woods family by having the Woods out there. It seems like an amazing event. Tiger Woods was caddying for Charlie. Charlie is giving interviews, and basically he is Tiger Woods now to a degree. We don't get to see him that often, especially solo, because Tiger protects him so much. But Tiger was caddying for him. I saw a little blurb from, I believe I was reading a Golf Digest piece about it again. It said it's worth noting that the elder Woods, recovering from ankle surgery, was mostly riding a cart for the win, but he walked alongside Charlie this weekend. So I believe throughout the weekend he was pretty much walking as his caddy down in Orlando. That's a goddamn good sign. And then Charlie Woods, won a big event. He shot a 66. He made an 8-footer, I think it was, on the final hole to win, which is just the clutch gene. So if you're just keeping your eye on what's going on down there in Florida with the next generation of the Woods family, pretty positive weekend from both the elder and the younger Woods, it feels like.
That's how I consume my Charlie Woods information. I just, in passing, like I'll see it on Twitter and I'll scroll right by it. I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to then open a new tab and go to Google and be like, what's going on? What's the competition like at the Nota Begay Invitational? What is going on? I see it and I'm like, all right, looks like he outdrove that guy by about 50 yards. Boom. I'm by it. Oh, he won with an 8-footer. Boom. I'm by it. It's a hard thing for people to juggle, I think. Like, how invested are we really going to get into this Charlie Woods thing until it's like, when is the right time to really get, like, when he goes to college probably feels a little bit more appropriate. Right now I'm just like, hey, all right, he won the Nota Begay Invitational. Great. I'm just going to, wait like 4 more years.
He wants people to know that he's golfing in the Nota Begay Invitational. That's why he's golfing in the Nota
For
Begay
sure.
Invitational. He's like fist bumping to a crowd of 3 people. Like, he wants to be recognized as a kid that's trying to pursue his dream, and Tiger clearly doesn't give a fuck because he's out there with him. You don't have to feel weird about like rooting on Charlie Woods and like seeing him on Twitter.
I said I would
He'd
feel
be playing
weird
in his backyard if he didn't want to be known.
I'm not going to open a new tab is all I'm saying.
You don't have to open a new tab, I guess.
I'm not going to open a new tab until he's at like Stanford. That's what perfect. I'm not.
That's great for you, but I think that the world can get excited for Charlie Woods.
100%.
I think that, like,
I'm not saying
my group chat was going crazy yesterday that Charlie Woods won a golf tournament. Like, this kid is fucking doing it. He's doing it. He's like stepping up and he's like making things happen. He shot 6 under on a final round. The kid's fucking making things happen. It's insane. How is that not something to like almost like he should get the praise right now? Like, he's doing it. It's the ride, right? It's the fucking journey.
I know he likes it. I remember someone was telling me that like on the way to the PNC, he was watching all of his highlights of himself. So he's definitely, he knows, and he's like, he's a 15-year-old kid. And like you said, Tiger's no idiot, right? Like, if he really wants to keep this guy away and if he's worried about the kid, he wouldn't let him he did an interview afterwards, which I thought that guy, first of all, the guy who did the interview, I hadn't seen him since he did the last Charlie Woods interview. I wonder how much preparation goes into those Charlie Woods interviews, because those are big moments for that guy.
Also, Bryce Harper was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was like 15. I mean, at this point, you're like in the sports world now. If you're 15 years old, you're playing in tournaments, you're on Twitter, you're fist bumping. I mean, he looked incredible. The kid's putting the lights out of these golf tournaments. Tiger Woods is on his bag, walking around the green with no limp, by the way. Did you see these videos of this guy walking around the green with the fucking flag stick in his hand? I mean, come on, man. I watched that thing a million times. I was analyzing every single step. He has his ankles are shown. He just has that leg compression thing that stops at his high ankle, and he looks incredible. The Woods family looks incredible right now.
Yeah, it was a great weekend for the Woods fans out
Incredible.
there, of which we are many. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I get what you're saying, Trent, where it's like I'm not digging deep into who exactly he beat and is this considered one of the tougher fields. I kind of keep passive tabs on it. I got jacked up. I know what you're saying. I was texting my buddies too. Fucking the Woods are looking great. Charlie's looking great. But yeah, I think too, a part of it is like that. We all know Tiger has had a hell of a history with the media. We're all very aware of that. And I think everybody wants to be a little bit overly sensitive to that entire thing. Largely because you just don't want to piss off Tiger Woods. I feel like, to a degree of like, I just kind of like he's been through it so much with the media. He's had stretches where you know that the media was his least favorite thing that's ever existed in the history of the world, even though it made him who he is. And now here is his son, who's clearly is insanely protective of his son, but they're out there, they're in public, he's doing an interview. It just does kind of put you in a little bit of a weird spot, I feel like.
I am also in the world where I'll see, like, I'm a big Iowa football fan. I'll see these weirdos on Twitter, like, obsessed with a high school sophomore, where they're like, this guy's going to be awesome in 2 years. And it's like, all right, I'll see them when they get to Iowa City. I'll see them when they get, at a level where I'm just going to be like, I don't need to watch grainy footage of like this running back who might be good in 3 years. But I'll hear the name. I'll be like, all right, that's an interesting name. When that guy comes through the system, I can't wait. And I'm a little bit like that with Charlie. Now, there's a lot more to it with the Tiger Woods aspect of it and him having a super famous dad. But I'm keeping my eye on it. Like I said, I think it's fine to get excited about it. Obviously, like the father-son thing, that is one of the biggest events of the year, and we all watch it. I'll just see it when I see it. And I see it on Twitter. I was like, holy shit, he's playing well. He's beating all these kids at the No Big Game Invitational. And I hope in a couple of years that this guy's just fucking lighting the world on fire, because what a story that would be.
I agree. I very much agree. Dan, do you have any sense of like how big this was in that world at all?
It's not. I don't think he's played in like the age AGA. I mean, at this age, you're playing age AGAs if you're like 15 and you're one of the best players in the country. And I don't know if that's because he's still like playing other sports or what it is, but it's not like he's playing against the other best 15-year-olds in the country. But you don't have to be. A lot of these guys talk about like they played every sport in high school, and a lot of them were like late bloomers. So just because the guy is traveling around the country with a full tailor-made deal or whatever it is, at age 15, doesn't mean that he's going to become one of the best players in the world. So I think they're trying to keep it under wraps in that sense by not having him play like the Thunderbird Invitational or, all of these like prestigious junior events. Maybe that will happen in the next couple of years. He's still really young. It's wild watching him, especially giving interviews. His mannerisms are so much like Tiger's, and it reminds you of like, he's getting to be like really like cut and big, and like his putting stroke, it reminds you that like Tiger was like really athletic and strong before everything happened. Like when we think of Tiger right now, I think of him as like he's gimping around, he's trying to make something work. Charlie is like a vision into a younger Tiger of like, holy shit, like this guy is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. He's a specimen. I mean, he was a fucking
And there's no denying that Tiger's seeing this as, and obviously I don't speak for Tiger Woods, but I would assume that he's seeing this as like, this is it now. That's Tiger Woods now. Is his son doing the thing that he can do, like that he can't do essentially. Charlie has just free runway to be everything that he wants to be, and Tiger's at this stage of his life where he can barely walk down the golf course, and he's watching his son, like you said, he's fucking like growing into like a mini Tiger Woods. It's got to be so fucking crazy for Tiger to see this and be like, we got another shot at this now. We've got like, this is happening again.
No, you're
Trent's
like
being
half
weird because he doesn't
joking.
want us to recruit like high school players anymore. He
No,
doesn't like the
what I'm
recruiting
saying-
process. He thinks Nick Saban's like a predator.
It's too good for rivals.
You're not in that world. It's not Nick Saban. It's other people. It's all I'm saying is let me say this. The flip side of this is we hype this dude up and then he's nothing, and people are like, this kid fucking sucks.
No, but he
and
loves.
Then that's
you don't think he
that's
loves
shitty.
the grind? You don't think he loves like the build up? If
I
he
don't
ends
know.
up-
I have no idea. I'm just
by
saying
playing, you don't. By
the
doing what he's doing, you don't think as a viewer you can't see that he's like living for like the buildup of being Charlie Woods?
No, I get that. I'm saying that it's pretty fucking rare that we're gonna run this thing back. Like the odds makers would say that it's like 1 in a billion. I get that he's got all the pieces. His dad is Tiger. He's got the genes. He's got all of it. But I'm saying that this could get to an end where he doesn't end up being this thing, and then everyone's like, this kid fucking sucks.
Well, there's that famous Sports Illustrated cover that just says the next Nicklaus, and it's Jack Nicklaus's son, Gary Nicklaus, and he like never became anything.
Right.
So it's definitely possible. But I think Frankie's right. Like, I think Tiger has moved on from the I'm going to win this. I think this latest surgery was about his life more so than a return to golf. And I think when he's thinking about this surgery, I think a large part of it is he wants to be right there in the front seat for Charlie's journey. Because again, this is all he really knows how to do, is to chase greatness this way, is to like, I'm going to just focus on golf. And if I can't do it myself, I'm going to create this. I'm going to run it back with basically mini me. And this is what he's pouring his energy into right now.
He might not have the goals to win 16 majors, but he was hitting balls in the pouring rain at that golf tournament when everyone else was inside eating fucking grilled cheeses. The guy wants it. Tiger Woods is on his bag. He's not like walking with like his family and Robbie Mack like on the sides with like a little bit of a cane. Like he's
like
on
Earl.
He's on the bag, man. Like Tiger Woods has the brain enough to know when I grab this flag stick and I put on this bib for my son, like I'm not just dad, I'm Tiger Woods, and the whole golf world is going to make something of this. And I'm making that conscious decision to be there with him and like watch him walk in putts and win no to gay tournaments. They are very, very aware of what is going on. There's no way they're not. If it's just some hit and giggle and he's going to go play soccer tomorrow, he'd just be on the side fucking drinking an Arnold Palmer and sitting with his family and his daughter and being like, oh, look at Charlie out there having fun.
Well,
we have basketball practice tomorrow. And we have soccer the next day. It's like, no, they're fucking golfing.
Again, I haven't opened a new tab on it, but what Danny said is that they're not entering these tournaments where it's the best 15-year-olds. They are kind of playing like events that he can win, it sounds like. Like if you are...
That might be by design, though.
Maybe. I don't know. Again,
well, he doesn't need exposure. A lot of these kids play AJGAs because they need exposure for college coaches. Charlie Woods doesn't need the exposure, so they can be selective with what they do.
They know who he is.
You think Charlie Woods has had a conversation with a college coach yet?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, maybe Tiger's gatekeeping, but the inquiry's been made for sure.
If you're a college golf team and you don't want Charlie Woods, do you have a pulse? That's crazy. I mean, every single program in the world should want Charlie Woods just based off of the name alone. It doesn't matter how he plays at that point. And that's a great spot for Charlie Woods to be in.
I mean, you got to think he's just going to go to Stanford, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's Stanford's like the second that you're ready, just call us, Tiger and Charlie.
Or does he like go and try and like build up a program somewhere? Maybe Tiger has like love for like I don't know, like making a program, something.
I guess maybe you stay close in Jupiter. You stay close to like a Florida school as opposed to going across the country.
We're opening tabs like crazy now.
And now now I'm opening tabs.
Tiger did say that one of his regrets was not staying at Stanford longer. So I think Stanford's the big favorite.
Listen, I'll eat crow in 10 years if this guy is dominant and he's running the world and he's got his own Charlie Slam and things are going crazy. I'm just saying, again, if you're a betting man, I'm just going to let it play out and see what happens.
I don't need that. I need Charlie Woods to just be a name in professional golf. I know that's putting pressure on him, but I just need him to just be a name. Like I need him to I want his dreams to come true. And I don't know that means that he has to be the best golfer of all time.
You just said he's like, we're taking another run at this thing.
But taking another run at this thing means like you have a professional golfer in the mix that has the last name Woods. Like, I don't know that putting the pressure on him to become the best of all time is quite literally impossible. It's like it's an impossible
But
task.
every time people talk about him, it's like, we're doing this again.
Okay, this guy's like just playing in a PGA Tour event. That's fucking insane to like to beat all the odds to make it to become a top 100 golfer in the world. Like the odds of that alone are insane. The fact that your dad's Tiger Woods is
I would
insane.
say in the group of people who are into this, you're in the minority in that. They're like, he's going to win 15.
Okay. I
Yeah,
open
that's-
another tab. I'm looking at Charlie Woods' results from the 2023 South Florida PGA Junior Tour Player
Oh,
of
we
the
got
Year.
tabs. Our tabs are.
His-
I know.
over.
I didn't want to open any
his
tabs.
results are T35, 10th, T20, T33, 15th, T8th, T19th. Now that's playing against guys 13 to 18, but that's just South Florida, and those are not all W's. So now I'm wondering how easy that course was that he shot 66 at.
Oh
See, too many tabs.
The tab was where we went wrong.
no, I mean that's fine to be able to look into that stuff. They do it for every sport. I mean, how else do you get? How else do you draft and how else do you do like professional sports? I mean, they're fucking figuring out what a guy's batting average is when he's a fucking freshman in high school. It's just like you have to do that. That's just what.
If college golf coaches are allowed to look this stuff up, we can look this stuff up.
I mean, how many?
That's,
Riggs
you know?
played at Harvard. I mean, how many times were you playing in front of like colleges and professional scouts when you were like 13 years old? I mean, that's just the way it
Relentlessly.
works. It's not being
Relentlessly trying
weird.
to
It's
get
like
in front
it's
of them
what
as
you
much
have
as
to
possible.
do.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm excited. I'm excited about the Woods family. I think Tiger looked great. I think the fact that he's out there walking around, carrying flag sticks, holding a pin, holding towels, fucking great. So yeah, it's a good weekend. It's just a good weekend for the Woods family.
I want to
That's
see
it.
Tiger Woods hit a golf shot. That's
Yeah.
what I want to see.
He's not coming this week. Zach Johnson said they must have asked him, and he was like, "Nope."
Did you see the way he was holding the clubs when Charlie would hand it to him? He just like always had like the wedge in his hand and he was just kind of knocking it on the green. Like he doesn't just kind of hold them by the grips like a caddy would, like where he holds all the clubs and the flag together. He had the flag and then he had a wedge in his hand. He was just kind of knocking down maybe some markings on the green. He was just cleaning up the green a little bit, walking around. It got me so fucking jacked up to see him hold a grip. It's so insane. Every time this guy holds a golf club, you just get this feeling in your back and your spine. Like I start to get better posture. I don't even need that
Shoulder
t-shirt
blades.
anymore. My shoulder blades just start to fucking perk up a little bit. And I'm like, that's Tiger Woods holding the golf club.
That man is chopping at the bit, and no one will ever be able to convince me otherwise. That man just wants to hit golf shots. That's it. That's all he cares about. And Charlie wants Charlie to hit golf shots too. But I'm with you, man. Seeing him at the range at Liberty last week, doing that kind of stuff, chipping around, holding that clubs. Ooh, baby, it's gonna happen. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is the golf capital of the world, was recently voted America's favorite buddies trip destination. We stumbled upon just the greatest ad read of all time last week when we were talking about Myrtle Beach because we were talking about golf. Golf can be expensive. Booking a trip can be expensive. These places that we go to that we like to highlight, that we love to highlight, that we talk about how amazing they are. It's pretty much limited to sort of, you got to have the budget. You got to have the time, the group, the freedom, that whole deal. Myrtle Beach has got everything. That's the beauty of it. It's got like over 70 golf courses. They do millions and millions of rounds. So you got a little bit of something for everybody. Maybe you're in your young 20s. You're just out of school. You don't have that much cash flow right now. You're trying to make it out there, but you still want to do a trip. You can go to Myrtle Beach. You can do more of these player-friendly type courses. Maybe you're a little bit older. Maybe you're in your 40s, 50s. You had quite a bit of success in your life. You and your pals don't mind shelling out quite a bit of money for a trip. They got high-end, top 100 courses. They got everything at Myrtle Beach. They got go-karts, steakhouses. They got shrimp on the pier. They got all kinds of good stuff at Myrtle Beach. So we love it, and that's why they're voted America's #1 buddies golf trip destination.
Yep.
Umberto's. Go to Umberto's.
Umberto is the Italian place there.
I got to plug it. Every
Incredible.
time we talk about Myrtle Beach, golf courses are great. Everything's great there. You can have such a good time. There's tons of restaurants, tons of things to do. But if you're in the North Scottsdale, if you're in the North Myrtle,
Yeah.
is that
North
right?
Myrtle. North Myrtle.
You could go to Umberto's. It's a great Italian restaurant.
Yeah,
If you're in
no
the North
frills
Myrtle.
type place. You're going to get a million plates put right in front of you within 10 minutes of you sitting down. You're going to get appetizers. You're going to get pastas. Your pastas are going to come on top of pastas.
So
Your chicken's going to come on top of chicken. It's just the biggest portions ever. Really good. It was right across from the North Towers that we stayed at, the North Myrtle Beach Towers. Yeah, really, really good spot. I'm in the midst of talking to my buddies about a golf trip, and everyone just keeps talking about Myrtle Beach. It's easy to get to. They've got a bunch of options, and it's super, super wallet and cost friendly when you just divide amongst your buddies, and you just realize it's just way cheaper to go to Myrtle Beach than most places in the country. So it's an amazing spot. It's an amazing,
Yeah, and
amazing
you can get all the info on golf packages, different courses, hotel options, things to do in one convenient place. It's playgolfmyrtlebeach.com. So if you're thinking about a trip, maybe it seems overwhelming. There's all this stuff in Myrtle Beach that the guys talk about. North Myrtle, Umberto, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Go to one spot, playgolfmyrtlebeach.com. You can get all the info and everything. And then we've also been running a sweepstakes to win a 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach all summer long. And guess what? We have a winner. Fellas, we're about to announce a winner right now.
Oh, shit.
I got the winner's name right in front of me. I got his name right in front of me. All summer, we've been doing this sweepstakes. A bunch of people signed up. We appreciate that opportunity to go to Myrtle Beach. We've got our friend Jonathan Stoffere. It's Stoffere. Stoffere.
Stouffer.
Don't church it up, son. Joe Dirte. Jonathan Stouffer. It says at Johnny_Stoff is his handle. Congrats to our winner, the Myrtle Beach sweepstakes from Philadelphia. It's going to be his first time visiting Myrtle Beach on a golf trip. Jonathan. So shout out to Jonathan.
Wow.
He won the sweepstakes. Fucking won.
That's awesome.
Fucking won.
That's amazing. It's great to see when like I get a bunch of messages like who actually wins these things, and we reach out to them like privately. And we say you win these. I usually never get like a nice thank you. Like I give away putters, those bags, drivers. No one ever says like they're just like oh cool, and then like they just do it and I send them the putter, I send them the driver. I'm gonna start making a big deal about the winners, because I need a nice thank you. I hope Jonathan says thank you for sending us to Myrtle Beach. It's one of those things.
I did. I just sent a Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2K Xbox to somebody like a week ago, and hopefully it got in by this time. Somebody who won it, and I would like a thank you too. I would love a thank you from
Larry David, where he's like, it's the anonymous donation where he's like, I want people to know it's me. I don't want to know it's anonymous. And then he's like, the people that are anonymous, they end up knowing who they are anyway.
Right.
You get the best of both worlds. I want praise. I want praise.
Fair.
Giving away a bunch of shit.
All kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, congrats to Jonathan. And go book your own trip. One convenient place to get all the information from Myrtle Beach. That's playgolfmyrtlebeach.com.
Wait, before we move on from Ryder Cup stuff, we are wearing the Ryder Cup merch. We did do like a reorder of some of the best stuff that we had. So we have these crew necks. We've got T-shirts. We've got a lot of the quarter zips. Some hats are still on sale. We sold through a ton of stuff in preparation for the Ryder Cup. But we realized that, with the juice, with everyone that's going to be watching it, then we're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching this thing. You might want a little commemorative piece of this incredible Ryder Cup that's in Rome. We have it. We've got it on our website. These crew necks right here that I'm wearing. I know that everyone's got a little piece on, but guys, when I this is my first time wearing this crew neck with the little Ryder Cup.
Nice.
The little Ryder Cup logo on the chest
all week.
Oh my God, good. The fit of this thing is crazy.
Yeah,
right around the
dark
neck
one all the time.
Oh my God, it's a very high quality piece of clothing. So make sure you go check our website out. You also can go to the PGA Tour Superstore right when you walk into, I think every single location in America, I'm pretty sure, has our Ryder Cup stuff there. So yeah, it's a very, very exciting times. We got really cool T-shirts. We've got that one T-shirt where it's like the Coliseum and like an eagle's flying over it. You got to go check that one out. That one's insane.
I was going to say if there's an item online that it appears is sold out of your size or whatever, PGA Tour Superstore's got a ton of stuff. So you can go into any one of those, get it. And yeah, we obviously appreciate the support. We got a new hat, I think, that we're going to be dropping too, that we're going to kind of throw into the mix for this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, store.barstoolsports.com, Foreplay logo, Foreplay brand, Foreplay link. Go click on that bad boy. We got a bunch of stuff on there, or just walk into a PGA Tour Superstore and we got a bunch of stuff in there too. And most of them have been awesome and highlighted us like front and center when you walk in, first table, bang. So Solheim Cup, a little bit of controversy going around in that they tied. The tie is a retainment. It's been that way for Solheim Cup and for the Ryder Cup forever, pretty much forever. The U.S. team looked like they were maybe going to get it done. And then Saganda, who's been just kind of a badass, I feel like, in these big moments. Every time I turn on TV and they're doing one of these things, gets it done, gets the have. And then I believe it's just kind of led to a lot of people being like, wait a second, they tied. And how come you lose? I don't really, in terms of the you got to go out and earn it, you got to go win it. I don't really mind that. I think it's fair. I think it's if those are the rules beforehand, it's like you can't win a cup that you've lost without truly winning it. That's essentially what you have to do. And that's kind of, again, been the way that it's been for a long time. Going in, you're basically, Dan, I think you tweeted out, you're basically down a half when you tee off on Friday or on Thursday in the first round. That going in, it is what it is. It's a devastating way to lose it. It's devastating for fans because you'd love to see, obviously, some drama. You'd love to see a playoff hole, a couple playoff holes, whatever. But yeah, the European women get it done. Did pretty much the minimum they needed to do, tied it up, tie keeps it, and the Europeans win the Solheim Cup. So,
as the Colin Coward of golf, I tried really hard to fire myself up for ties shouldn't be like we shouldn't have ties. I thought that would have been the Colin Coward take. I can't do it. I like it. It's one of those weird golf things, It's like it ties you to history in a certain way, and I like it. It's charming. It's like this is ours, and you have to come back and win it. It's not like it's like a link throughout history as opposed to each one being its own thing. And I get it. Like there's probably someone who played in the Solheim Cup who that's the only Solheim Cup they'll play in. And it's like, well, we didn't really win. We didn't really lose. I did not like Stacey Lewis, the captain, saying it felt like a win because all the girls here had a meaningful time. No, it's about the win. But the European women have got it done 3 straight times in a row. So Americans, they definitely they've got some splaining to do.
Our girl Danielle Kang, she lost her golf clubs for a week. It felt like she made a huge social media push. She couldn't get her clubs from wherever it was to wherever they were. It seemed like, she ended up getting them, but that was quite the social media push. We put it on Foreplay. People were posting, being like, "How do we get this girl's bags on this flight so that she can play in the Solheim Cup?" That was quite the journey.
It was. It's it goes back to the reason that people complain about airlines and whatnot online is because it just works. Like when you just get on their radar, then it works. Because when bad shit happens, when they lose shit, when they're just not helping you, when they're just being mean, and they're just like you're in the vortex that you're never going to get out of. They're never ever going to help you. And she clearly was like, I got to play in the biggest event that there fucking is. I got to play in a couple days. I need these clubs, and got it all over the place. And it fucking worked. She got her clubs. Right. I believe she played pretty well, right, Dan? I think throughout the whole thing,
she was fine. The Titleist, went right to bat, but it just shows you that no one's above the airline BS. I don't know what you'd expect them to put a note like, "Hey, they're flying over for this world famous golf tournament. Maybe this is a bag that we should keep tabs on." I also wanted to give her shit for not having an air tag in her bag, but then I remembered I don't have one in my bag, and it's something that I talk about doing all the time, and I just don't do it.
You got to do it, Dan.
Dude, you have it? You guys all have it?
Oh yeah,
we have it. There is a and there's some wallets now that are coming with a little AirTag spot to put your AirTag in. Have you seen that? Wallets.
I put it in my wallet. It's it's a little awkward, I will say, because it's the AirTag's a little too thick to be in a wallet. I need a skinnier one.
I need to put one on my fucking TV remote. My couch at my house. I lose my remote at my house 5 times a night. It's crazy. It slips right underneath me and goes into all these little crevices because we have recliners, and it's just there's so many things under there. There's so many little pulleys and levers down there that it gets caught, and it's crazy.
Would an AirTag on your remote work?
No,
or would it still
wouldn't.
Just say it's in this general area? That would actually be more angry.
The beeping would help.
Yeah, you can make it beep.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Oh. I might just stick one right on the top of it. Just I got an extra one.
Duct tape that baby on that sucker.
The airlines have a system when with all of this stuff, and your bag ends up just being in the system, and that could take days, weeks, months. They're just going through their system, and when they get a tweet that gets a bunch of action, or they get an Instagram post and everyone's talking about it, that's the way human nature works. The way the world works is someone sees that and they're like, "Oh, let's go find that bag because now we can go out of the system, go physically find it." Someone goes into a room where there's a million bags, and they're like, "Oh, that's the one that they're talking about. Let's just go put this one to the front," instead of having it sit in the system that is clearly broken and takes months and months and months.
That's exactly right. That's why you do it. She did it. It worked. She got her club. She was able to participate. Unfortunately, the United States couldn't quite get it done. So you're right. They're kind of a juggernaut, the European team, 3 straight. They're in Spain. What course were they at in Spain? Do you remember what what place that was, Dan? It looked pretty sick.
Forca Cortesine. It was cool. The first tee shot was a drivable par 4. So I guess sort of similar to Whistling Straits, but
Is
it
that the
wasn't
one with the
drivable
water
for
down the
anyone.
left?
Yeah, it's like a dog leg left, and you have to decide how much you want to chew off. Which it's sort of similar to Whistling Straits, and that I guess number 1 was drivable, but it really wasn't. It was only drivable for Bryson. But it's a really cool risk reward tee shot to have right off the bat.
I got tagged a lot in that Lexi Thompson chip. I think hopefully you guys all saw that one, but she was like rehearsing this chip, beautiful like rehearsals, and then just kind of like a whole body yippy one on the chip. She was not happy to talk about it afterwards, which I saw was kind of golf Twitter was going wild about that one as well. But that's just going to happen, man. When you're in the arena, when you're in those types of moments, everybody talks about how nervous they are, talks about tough. She said that it was a really hard shot, which I'm sure that it was, but that's it. You want the glory, and the glory's great. But everybody says, dude, I'm like puking on myself. I think it was like Webb Simpson who said he basically popped up his first 3-wood that he ever hit in a Ryder Cup. So it's like those moments when you're out there, it's amazing when it goes well, and you get the Rory and Patrick Reed highlights of them making putts. But man, you can also get Hunter Mahan, I believe, had the flub of all time with the Ryder Cup on the line playing against Graham McDowell. So you can get some bad moments. That one was a tough one. Golf's a really fucking hard game. That's just going to happen all the time.
That's what it is. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more, honestly.
I know.
Why are people? We watch all golf tournaments all year, and nobody tops it off the tee. Nobody. Like, I get that they're professionals and they practice, and that's why they're the best in the world. Not one top. Not one.
Yeah, the most recent one I can think of is like Molinari did it at Pebble Beach. That was probably a good 2 years ago. Yeah,
Tiger did it once. Tiger did it with like a 3-wood in like Dubai or something. I remember he literally like cold topped his 3-wood and then hit like a 5-wood onto the green from like 280.
What's his name at the PGA against Justin Thomas was like the closest you'll see to just a pure nerves fuck up.
Mito Pereira.
Pereira was just
dinosaur.
But even
forgot how to play golf.
Even if you're a normal person, like if you're over the ball, you're like, I just want to get this thing in the air, which he did. It was going the wrong way, but like nobody just boom, right? Just right on top of it.
In our level, in our world, our own Ryder Cup, which is, we'll talk about our schedule coming out this week with the Ryder Cup. But I couldn't make a putt against the match against you guys with Big Cap, but I don't think I mishit a shot. I was hitting great full swing shots. And then Dave Portnoy showed up on the 9th hole, and I just popped up a hybrid. That's been my best club for 4 straight years. I don't think I've mishit a hybrid off a tee in 4 years. I hit it right down the middle. I hit it 135 yards straight up into the air. It was crazy. And everyone's looking at me like that was a huge joke. It's like, yeah, my heart was bouncing in the back of my neck. Like I couldn't like hold on to the club anymore. My thumbs had a heartbeat.
Dude, we're talking about fucking Lexi Thompson, who's one of the best players, in the world, hitting a shitty chip. I laid the sod over a chip with everybody around at the match on the line fucking a couple days ago. That video went out there, and it's the same people. People are like, this guy chips every day. I'm like, dude, these people are 8,000 times better than we are, and they hit shitty shots under pressure. You think we're not going to hit shitty shots under pressure? Right. Of course we're
Pressure is everything, man. And it is, to Trent's point, it's amazing that, yes, they are the best golfers in the world. Yes, they have this amazing skill, but how the brain and the body doesn't affect these people more is truly stunning. Because if the average person got to experience what that felt like, they wouldn't believe that these people are able to perform at the levels that they are. You know what I mean? We get a little taste. We get a little taste of like the nerves. We have cameras on us. We know that 500,000 to 1 million people are going to watch this match, which is what the Ryder Cup is right now. You know that pressure is there, and it fucking affects the shit out of us. And that's just our bodies. It has nothing to do with our skill. It's just our bodies.
But the twisted part is that some guys go the other way, like where it makes them better.
Right.
What was the thing where Justin Thomas over the ball, his heart rate goes down? Yeah, it was like at the PGA Championship or something, and like they were doing the whoop thing, and it was at 130, and then when he stepped over, it was like 115. It's like that's an alien, dude.
Yeah, I think it's like when you've practiced enough to have like deep belief in your abilities, which none of us have when it comes to playing golf. It's like, I don't know. I kind of think about it like, Frankie, when you perform with Putt Punk, it's like when the lights go on, it's like it almost probably makes you better because like, you know you can do it and you're like excited about it. I know like if I go on one of these news shows and the lights go on, like you get excited and it laser focuses you. I think it's just we stink, so we get so
That is a good point.
self-conscious.
I feel way more confident on a stage playing the drums because I know that I can do it with my eyes closed at this point, as opposed to golf. It's still so foreign to us. Like hitting good golf shots and under pressure is so foreign.
Dude,
yeah, that's true.
We hit horrible golf shots with zero pressure all the time. So now
Constantly.
it's like you're gonna go out and give me all the pressure in the world. I think about like with like the thing that I've probably been the best at ever is like playing hockey. And I think like under pressure in the last fucking 5 minutes of a game, get me on the ice and give me the puck, because that's just something that I'm naturally like good at and I can just do it. It doesn't like matter what the pressure is. You can do it. When you're fucking bad at something and then you add pressure, you in your mind are like, I know I'm pretty bad at this a lot of the time. And now I know I can't feel my arms and my body feels completely different and my heart is pounding, but I have to do it. And then it's just over.
Right. Doubt creeps in for us in golf. And like in hockey, you're not like, oh, I hope I don't go out there and fall, or because you know you're not going to do that. It's impossible. Like you've never done that. That's not even that doubt isn't even creeping into your head. But in golf, I'm thinking, oh my God, Dave's watching me right now.
Dude.
Don't top this. Don't shank
And you know
this.
the top is in the bag, even if you
Right.
haven't hit it. It's there. It's there.
Yes.
Dude,
Yeah.
that last putt in the match, me and Riggs versus Frankie and Big Cat on the 9th hole, when Riggs hit a horrible chip and I bladed a chip that somehow got onto the green and stayed there. When I was over that putt, I remember thinking, this is either going to go 100 feet by or it's going to go 2 inches. Like that's not the right thought to be having. And somehow I hit a decent putt. It didn't go in, but like over it, I remember thinking like, how I can't feel my arms. How am I supposed to put this even close? It's horrible.
Oh
It's
my
awful.
gosh.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
Ryder
And
Cup
now-
schedule. So as of right now, you would have seen yesterday's match of Danny Rapp and Hank versus Jerry and Francis. Jersey Jerry and Francis. That is an alternate shot. Absolute just dog fight. How did that one end, by the way? I mean, at this point, you can give away spoilers because the next episode's out today at 2 p.m.
Yeah, I played nice. We beat them like 4-3 or something. It was kind of a wild. Jerry got very mad that I was there. He felt like I was ruining the competition.
How was Jerry
Amazing.
and Francis
Amazing.
together? Because I feel like
Francis was in a fragile state. Francis was in a fragile state really all week. So it was sort of like, when you're on the boys trip and you're playing with the guy who's like lost the first 2 matches and like people are making fun of him and you're just trying to be like, nice shot, dude. Like you're playing great. It was one of those.
Today at 2 p.m. on YouTube, we've got Big Cat and PFT versus Trent and Arian Foster. And if you're saying like, oh, like you have to remember that we were playing for $30,000. Like this is a team event. We're playing for a lot of money. Everyone wanted to win. So there are matches like that's a strategic matchup of Big Cat and PFT versus Arian and Trent. Like, so it might not be the best competition, whatever it might be, but everyone in every single category in every single matchup was trying to think of how can you get the most points at the end of the day. It wasn't like video by video. This was a legit competition. It was the Ryder Cup. It was how do we win this thing? Not just this one match. Like you can punt one match. That's the thing that I loved about it the most is like we really didn't care from video to video. Like sure, it was going to end up playing to the world at the end of the day, but we were trying to win the fucking Ryder Cup. That's all we cared about.
That was it. That was what Dave, our captain Dave was just strategizing with us nonstop about how do we get to the last match with a chance to win the Ryder Cup. That's all he cared about.
Because I saw a bunch of comments from last week being like, how do you put these two in a video? It's like, that means nothing. It's about trying to win matches and try and get the most amount of points at the end of the day. That's all that matters. Sure, they got spliced up into different videos. We weren't even thinking about that.
I've had a lot of pride reading the comments and seeing how many people have noticed the production value and have noticed that it was our guys who were in charge of the edit or largely in charge of the edit. So shout out to Brendan, Kyle, Alex Bush, Jared, Not Social Rob. But sorry, so we got to stop doing that. But they work their ass off, and I think everyone's like the general Barstool audience is realizing like just how talented our guys are, and it's been really nice to see.
So just another peek behind the curtain for our guys. And we just went through this the other day at the office. I was sitting with Brendan Jones, and on our calendar, you see like all these colors, right? And red means videos that are going to be coming out. And if you look at our schedule, we've got 2 videos coming out a week from now until essentially January 1st. And that's scheduled videos that are done, that we have on a little orange external hard drive that we've filmed, that they're going to edit and that they're going to put out. That's 2 videos a week from now until the end of the year. We still have a full travel series that we're going to be doing, that we're going to film. We still have, I think each of us probably has like 3 or 4 more individual videos that we're going to be putting out. We've got like a collaboration video series that I think we're going to be doing that might produce 5 or 6 more videos. The fact that they had this project of the Ryder Cup thrown on their plate when originally it wasn't supposed to be that way, and now it's like, hey, take ownership of this, Foreplay and Brendan and Alex and Kyle and Jared and all these guys. You have to edit all these on top of all the things you're already doing. That's a fucking big haul, man. That's a lot, because you got 8 videos coming out in 2 weeks for this Ryder Cup. And that's in the midst of all this shit that they're already doing. So yes, they deserve all of a round of applause. They deserve all of the praise, because these videos are immaculately edited. That's a lot to deal with. Big Cat, PFT, all these huge personalities, Jersey Jerry. It's way more than our videos, where there's so much more communication going on and so much more shit show going on, that they're like, wow, like this edit's taking us double the time, as opposed to the Foreplay videos they're able to do with their eyes closed at this point. They know how we react. They know how we interact. So yeah, it's fucking amazing, and people are noticing for sure, Dan. It's good. I've been talking to Brian about it. He's super jacked up about just the way it looks and the way it's performing, and yeah,
we talked about labor laws. I mean, we're probably in trouble for how much those guys have to work.
Oh my gosh!
Before the Ryder Cup, before that, we're putting so much on their plate. Yeah, so to have this dumped on them, and then they've done a great job. The videos are incredible. We've got the best golf editors on the internet. Like, that's just no doubt.
Yep.
So.
Yep, they dominate. Great work, boys. And yeah, I mean, and they just have so much more work to still do. We got TaylorMade Media Day. We got all.
Oh my gosh,
we got amazing amount of
4-man scrambles. It's like, it's fucking. These next couple months are usually one of our busier filming months.
By the way, we're locked in on that scramble. By the way, I believe we're in Sharpie.
That's a nice teaser there. We're not going to say who, but we've got one lined up.
Ryder Cup player.
I was going to say, should we give a little tease? He's here this week.
That's good.
Let's go.
Good. That's really good.
He might back out after he hears what we said at the beginning of the show. But that's all right.
Yeah, maybe we can bleep it out or cut it out. It'll be right. Nah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
Is he big?
Is he big?
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's on the Ryder Cup, so he's pretty big.
I don't know exactly what you're alluding to there, but that's okay.
I think he's. I know what he's doing. I like it.
Throwing the center out a little bit.
I like it a lot.
I get it now. That's good. All right.
Oh, also, wait, real quick. Ryder Cup schedule. So Monday, Danny Rapp and Hank versus Jersey Jerry and Francis. Tuesday, 2 p.m., Big Cat and PFT versus Trent and Arian. Wednesday, Frankie and Kirk versus Dave, Portnoy, and Riggs.
That's
and Thursday,
Thursday,
if it gets to that point, there will be another video. But there's no way to be able to talk about it, because we don't know if it even happened, because it's just a competition. And if it got to that point with points, then you'll know. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, definite videos, possible video Thursday. Barstool YouTube, 2 p.m. every single day.
All right. From the gallery, we got a quick request here from the gallery. Is brought to you by our great friends at TaylorMade. We got a Ryder Cup question that we're going to actually have to figure out the answer, because I don't know the answer to this. But TaylorMade wants to remind you, welcome to the Carbon Coliseum, boys and girls. As the U.S. and Europe prepare to clash in Rome, we have introduced the limited edition Stealth 2 Teams Edition drivers, one draped the colors of Old Glory and the other flying the blue and gold of Europe. As the 2 teams enter the Coliseum, only one will be victorious. Starting October 1st, we are giving away 8 limited edition Stealth 2 U.S. Edition drivers to some of you lucky stoolies out there, you Barstool fans, Foreplay fans, the patrons. Entering is very easy. Is simply click this link that we're going to put out, hit submit, and you'll be entered into the sweepstakes for a chance to win one of these incredible prizes. Do not miss out on your opportunity to be a part of the Coliseum history. Enter now at tailormadegolf.com/barstool sweeps. So that is the link. You go to tailormadegolf.com/barstool sweeps. You've seen us post these drivers out there. They're incredibly cool, incredibly unique. The Stealth 2. Don't miss out on your opportunity to be a part of the Coliseum history. That's tailormadegolf.com/barstool sweeps. That is how you enter. And we're going to be giving away 8 of these bad boys.
These are phenomenal drivers. We got our hands on them from grip to the tip. Everything about these things are just some drivers, like, you're able to like get like a wrap done on them. I know, like, my father-in-law put American flag top on top of his stealth. It's like something he bought on Amazon. It's just it looks cool, but this is like ingrained American flag stars. You have to see this thing to believe it. It looks like it's inside the driver. I don't know how they did it. It's got this glossy finish. It's amazing. Go check it out on the website. You're not going to believe it. You're going to want to win one of these.
Yeah, make sure you go enter there. We're giving away 8, so you got a pretty decent chance compared to most giveaways. We're giving away 8 of these things. They're amazing. That's TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool Sweeps for these limited edition Stealth 2 drivers from TaylorMade Golf. Josh asks, what would happen if someone on one of the Ryder Cup teams gets injured or is unable to compete for some other reason? Do they pick someone to replace them? If so, who do you think they would pick? What happens, Dan, if somebody just gets injured?
Yeah, I think they obviously wouldn't play in the 4 team matches, and I think you would just have to take a loss in singles. I don't believe that there are any alternates. There's no one like here.
I was going to ask Keegan Bradley that when we interviewed him, but I felt like I didn't know what I was talking about, and I didn't want to embarrass myself where he'd be like, no, that's never happened before. Like, there's no alternates. But, like, those fringe guys should get the invite. You got 16 fucking assistant captains out there all going to Rome eating gelato. Why can't you send Keegan Bradley out there to be a part of the team? Yes, he's not going to play in Sunday singles, but, like, if somebody comes and tweaks a back, you just take a loss. That's not how team sports work. You want to be a team sport, you need alternates, you need backups.
I think there's been guys who have pulled out of the Ryder Cup late and they can choose another pick. But I think once a tournament starts, you're 12 or you're 12.
Wow.
See, that's nuts. Like you said, we feel like we see people tweak a back quite frequently out there. So say somebody's walking off Friday afternoon off a tee, they tweak their back, they can't go for the rest of the week. Sure, fine, you can get away with it on Saturday all day. But that Sunday singles is just an auto loss because of a fucking fluke injury. That's insane.
Imagine they fly Keegan in just like on a bird. The guy flies in overnight on a red eye, just lands and just becomes Captain fucking America.
They just fly him in on an eagle. He has to come in on an actual eagle to come in there. Yeah, that would be stunning. I'm trying to think, has somebody gotten like really sick before and had to bail out of Sunday singles?
You never know what's going to happen now, right? You have no idea in this world. Everyone's getting sick and they're taking tests and all this stuff. You never know. You could come down with something.
Now something's popping into my head that there was like some name in an envelope recently. Does this ring a bell? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think they have any alternates. I wouldn't guess that there is. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that's like on site. So I guess once the tournament starts, you'd be screwed.
They should pick someone from the crowd.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, just pull somebody out, dude.
Let's volunteer as tribute.
Yeah.
That video from when the guy came out in Hazeltine and made that putt is still one of the most amazing moments I've ever seen in my entire life.
When that happened, I blogged it, and I think it still is. I would have to ask somebody, but it's the most viewed blog in Barstool Sports history.
I remember that from that year. Yeah.
Because it was such a perfect storm of like, everybody fucking loves the Ryder Cup. Oh, they're going to pull a regular guy out there. There's money on the line. He makes the putt. It was like the perfect storm. And it might not be true anymore, but it got like millions of views, and it was number 1 for a very long time.
You have to see if that's still it. You got to text the dog.
I can text the dog right now. Yeah.
Because if that's over like a Dave buying back the company or like a anti-cancel culture blog, that is some numbers.
Well, yeah, let me text Nate. I'll see.
Yeah, because that was 2016. Is that right?
We've had some big moments since 2016.
But you know what I mean? Blogs are all about, like, especially one like that, is what are the pieces that are going to make people click? And that one, if you were to grade it on a 10 out of 10 scale, 0 to 10, it's 10 every single one.
Yeah.
Ryder Cup, regular guy, gambling, makes it, bang. I'll text Nate.
Frankie, are you going to go? You're going to be in Rome on Sunday? Are you going to go to the Ryder Cup?
Yes. So I have a Saturday night flight. I have to see exactly what time I'm landing, but I would assume like local time, it's going to be going on until what, 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
No, like, yeah, I think like 5 or 6 o'clock. I think you're good.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm going to land. I might go straight from the airport. I'm going to be a tired little boy, but I'll probably wear this, and it's just going to be an incredible, I got to figure out how to get in. I'm sure I can talk to somebody, but I'm going to have to get into the Ryder Cup, and I'm going to see Dan, and hopefully I can do the podcast from there, and we'll just be sitting right there, and we'll just get 2 headphones, and we'll just be right there.
Amazing. Kick off your honeymoon with a little Ryder Cup day.
Yes, yeah. I already told her. I'm like, listen, like it's just I got to do the podcast anyway. It's a Ryder Cup. I'm not going to miss the Sunday podcast. I'm going to be in Rome. What are the odds of that? I'm going to be in Rome. They're playing in Rome. I'm going to the Ryder Cup. She's like, yeah, no problem. I don't care.
I went to Lambeau yesterday. We got last minute deal. Shout out to Game Time, who is our obviously our ticketing partner. Incredible. Just took a couple minutes, not even a couple minutes. Got tickets for myself and a couple of our boys. We had been to Lambeau 2 years ago during the Ryder Cup, but for like a tour at night. I think we talked about it on the show how incredible it was. It was a little bit weird that we went and it was 74 degrees outside and sunny, where it's like the Lambeau experience, supposed to be snowy, blowing. You're in the bleachers packed in. But it was as good as it possibly gets. The people up there are so nice. Like you're just used to when you go to a jam-packed event, it's very stressful and people are on edge. Like logistically, it's stressful. Parking wise, getting in, you're waiting in line to get a drink, you're waiting in line for that. The people in Wisconsin were just so insanely nice. Packers ended up coming back. They looked fucking awful all day. And then fourth quarter, huge comeback. I think it was like their biggest fourth quarter comeback in like Packers history or something to get a win. So people were going nuts. The whole scene up there and how important the Packers and Lambeau and all that is to everyone in Wisconsin and like the surrounding region is outrageous. There was a kid we met who's 33 years old, and he said his father, the day that he was born, his father put him on the list to get season tickets. And then every year around Christmas time or New Year's, you get like a little card that tells you what number you're at. He's over 300,000th on the list still.
Tough.
He's been on it for 33 years.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
It's not going to happen, unfortunately.
It's clock
He needs like a disaster to strike for people.
Unfortunately, yeah.
He needs like a nuclear attack in Wisconsin or something for him to get it. I mean, I don't know how you're going to leapfrog 300.
He's probably at home during COVID being like, all right, we might get.
now we're up there.
Well, now hold on a second. We're on to something.
yeah.
We might get 8 tickets coming our way.
Right. How many people pass away?
But Lambeau too. I mean, I remember we kind of talked about it when we were in there, but it's so tastefully done. It's not like giant billboards and stuff everywhere. Even the way that they kind of list their retired numbers and the Hall of Famers and whatnot is just clean with like the yellow script up against the green sort of background, and it was as good as it gets. It's an iconic.
It's still
stadium,
bleacher seating, right?
Bleacher seating, so you're packed in there, man.
That's no for a 2023 stadium to be bleacher seating is like that's the real deal.
Do the season ticket holders have like a little seat on the bleacher so that they like with a back? You know how some like colleges
my dad had season tickets at Kinnick, and you could like check a box where you pay an extra amount and they put it out there. I don't know if they do that at Lambeau, but I bet they do.
That's a good question. I would bet they do. Like our row, I didn't really see any kind of in our immediate row right there, but we were sort of right by the stairs. Shout out to Game Time, great access. So it wasn't like we saw a ton of different rows and areas and such. So you could easily have that. But you can imagine it in an environment when it's freezing out there that it's actually nice to be in the bleachers because again, you're sort of like huddled up together, grinding through this thing together and the whole deal. But yeah, it was awesome. It was, they do fireworks like 45 minutes beforehand, the flyover, everybody's going nuts. It was the home opener. So it was incredibly cool. The cheese curds. We went to this tailgate. Shout out to my guy Chris who hooked us up for this tailgate. That was one of those homes that's right there, that like ESPN kind of owns or something and literally like takes it over a handful of times a year to do, their shows from and whatever else. And then when they don't, it's just kind of open for some exclusive tailgates. And we got invited to this tailgate. We're literally standing in this yard of stone's throw from Lambeau, looking at Lambeau, eating cheese curds for a couple hours, and then you walk over there, everybody's in a good mood. So it was a bucket list experience. Shout out to Game Time getting in there, and the Packers got the win. So 1-0 going to Lambeau for the Green Bay Packers.
Also, shout out to Game Time. I went to the Eagles concert at UBS Arena.
Ooh.
I saw Steely Dan and the Eagles. Honestly, I've been to a lot of shows. I've been to, Blink-182. I've been to Foo Fighters. I've been to all different types, country shows, everything. And these are older guys, right? And these guys are in their 70s, and the guys from Steely Dan are in their 80s. And when you're going there, you're like, all right, I'm going to be the youngest guy in the building. I don't know if it's going to really translate. Are they going to sound good? Whatever. I'm a big Eagles fan. I love all their music. I think they're incredible. They fucking blew me away. So much so that I think it's probably a top 3 concert I've ever been to in my life.
Woo.
It was that good. They sounded that good. Don Henley still has it. He sounds unbelievable playing Hotel California while he's on the drums. Just every song is bigger than the last song that they sang, and it's all just like iconic bangers, sing-alongs, and they're harmonizing. And Joe Walsh, Joe Walsh just comes out there and goes, "I don't remember a single thing from 1970 to 1984. So if I met you then and I don't remember you, it's nice to see you again," or something. Shit. It was crazy. The guy doesn't remember 14 years of his entire life.
Rock star, baby.
Rock star. And he just fucking blares his fucking solos. He can't speak, but he can just rip on the guitar. And I'm sitting there and I'm singing along, and I turn to Hannah. I'm like, we just went back in time. Like, how lucky are we that we're sitting here at an Eagles concert listening to these iconic songs with Don Henley singing his fucking vocal cords off. And like, I never would have thought I'd get that experience. I'm 30 years old. Why would I go to an Eagles concert where they sound this good? And Glenn Fry's son, Deacon, he's singing with them because he passed away, and his son took over, and he's singing with the band that his dad fucking made huge. And it's just so cool. It was an emotional concert. It was their last tour ever, their final stop. It was really, really cool. And honestly, I think if anyone can go, if you have the ability to go see them and they come to your city, go see the Eagles. That's how good they were. They were incredible. Absolutely incredible. They'll blow your socks off.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You like went on a whim too. I remember we were in the office and you were like, the Eagles are at UBS. I'm going to try to go. And you went.
Yep. I just went. I found that's game time for you. 4:30 p.m. I was like, I'm going to the Eagles concert tonight. Why would I miss them?
Eagles are great. Eagles are fucking great. Golf Pride knows that a grip isn't only a grip, it's a piece of performance equipment and the only physical connection between a golfer's hands and their clubs. This is true. This is one of the more underratedly true things in the world of golf, is that you don't touch any other part of that club. You don't have any other connection to the club. The club's the thing that you have to use. You have to use it to hit golf shots. Grip. You get a new, fresh grip from the best in the business at Golf Pride. It completely changes your golf club. It turns it into a brand new golf club in one change, and that's just getting yourself a Golf Pride grip and getting it on this golf club.
Yeah, we talked about in this podcast Tiger Woods just holding the golf club, and just seeing his hand on a golf grip just got me going. Just like it's his connection. That's the thing. It's like Thor and his hammer. It's like Captain America and his shield. It's one, and once you're grabbing it, that's it. You're wielding your weapon. That's your weapon. That is yours. That's your grip. Without it, it'd just be a slippery mess.
Are you guys ready for these Ryder Cup stats on grips?
I love it.
Team USA, 11 of the 12 players use Golf Pride grips.
Wow.
Team Europe, 11 of the 12 players use Golf Pride grips.
Who are these outcasts?
Do we want to name them?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know who the outcasts are. I just have more of the macro stats in front of me, but if we want to dig into it and find out who these outcasts are.
22 of the 24 participants are using Golf Pride grips.
That's right. That's right.
Pretty impressive.
And we'd really like to highlight a couple of their great grips. We got the MCC and the Z grip. Their hybrid technology, the MCC, upper hand cord, lower hand rubber to give enhanced stability in all weather conditions. And then the Z grip, firmest performance grip, cotton cord that delivers both traction and all weather control. And then they've got the CPX and CP2, great options for those seeking something in the softer category. The CPX is the softest performance grip, maximum comfort to reduce grip tension and pressure, leading to a more fluid swing. And then the CP2 is the wrap style design with control core technology, combines high performance inner stabilizers with a soft, tacky outer feel. Do yourself a favor, go to golfpride.com to learn more. 22 out of 24 players competing in this year's Ryder Cup are using Golf Pride grips, so you should too. Go to golfpride.com to learn more.
Also, shout out to the Dave Portnoy Pizza Fest. I
Holy
was there.
shit.
Frankie was there. Frankie performed with Pop Punk, which was honestly incredible. Weather didn't fully cooperate. I know that was kind of a bummer, but still an insane turnout at Coney Island. And the pizza places, it was the whole thing. It was really a great event. And me and Tommy Smokes and Glenny Balls just ate a shit ton of pizza and a shit ton of Italian desserts. And watch Teddy Swims and Pop Punk.
Oh my
and
God, Teddy Swims.
he was so good. And we're just wearing ponchos. If you just embrace a day like that, where you're like, we know it's going to rain. We know that it's still raining on Long
It
Island.
rained,
man. It's been raining for 3 days. But if you just know, you wear a poncho, you go out there, you eat some of the best pizza in the world, the best pizza in the world. And you just get these slices. You get one after another after another. There was the Borelli setup. Got to see Mr. Borelli and Mrs. Borelli. The event was truly spectacular. And if it hadn't rained, it would have been even better. But even with the rain, it was a phenomenal event.
40 of the top pizza places in the world, all in one baseball stadium in Coney Island. Yes, the weather sucked. It would have been incredible to see Coney Island in a sunny day with all the rides going in the background. That baseball stadium with that whole backdrop of the ocean and the cyclone and all of the everything that Coney Island has to offer is just in the back in the outfield view of the stadium. And having that with our stage, it was a huge festival music stage with Teddy Swims and Pop Punk. And yeah, the weather obviously didn't cooperate. Like a lot of the music got messed up with like the lines were getting wet and we got pushed from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And a lot of people left by the time we played. But like it was, aside from the rain and aside from eating soggy pizza at times, it was as fun of an event as you can possibly attend because you have all these ridiculous characters. Al Santillo. It was a trip down memory lane for me of seeing all these pizza places and all these guys. Lucali was there. You can't get into Lucali if you were the president of the United States right now. That's how hard that place is to get in. He's just sitting there.
I picked Glenny balls up from his house and I took him home afterwards. But he was telling me, which was a trip, but he was telling me about Lucali's. I didn't know about this place. I didn't know that it's like basically, he was saying it's like Carbone is it in Brooklyn, Lucali's?
It's in Brooklyn, yeah.
He said those are like, it's like you literally have to be the president to go there.
Yeah, and like even when you get in, you got to get there at like 3 p.m. and like wait online until 6 p.m. and like maybe you'll get in. Like that's even with getting like the head nod that you can go there. It's an amazing place. Yes, Borelli's was there. I had my whole family there, my mom, my dad, my cousin Steven, my Aunt Angela. And so I'm walking around. My dad's super excited. They're giving out 5,000 slices a place. So my dad was like, there's 140,000 slices of pizza being given out here. There was like 38 places, whatever it was. That's an absurd amount of pizza. And the ovens were all industrial ovens. Like whatever oven you wanted, they got it for you. They had they had wood fire burning ovens, and in certain places would have 4 of them stacked. We had these Pizza Master ovens that are like super expensive that they just had in each tent. It was incredible. The production was insane. The pizza was coming out as if it was at the actual place. That was the most amazing part. You go to Sally's, they have a 200-year-old oven at Sally's in New Haven, but the oven that they got them for this event, it tasted just like fucking Sally's. It was incredible. So I'm walking around checking out all these places. I go see Al Santillo. He like grabs my cheek. He's like, "What are you doing these days?" As if like I had seen him 30 years ago. I'm like, "Bro, we did a pizza review 2 years ago." He acted like you're so old now. I'm like, "Bro, it was last year I saw you." I'm walking around seeing all these places and I look over at the Borelli's tent and I see 200 cameras standing around it, and I shit my pants again. It was like the third time I shit my pants this week. I looked over, I'm like, holy shit. I hadn't seen Dave at this point. We've been there all morning, sound checking, trying to get the rain situation under control on the stage. And I look over and I'm like, oh my God, something's happening over there at Borelli. So I sprint over. He's mid-review of our new pizza. So we have a new pizza place, Borelli's Tap Room in Long Beach, Long Island. We went partners with the people that were already there. We're right on the main strip. They wanted a pizza place. We turned it into a Borelli's like bar scene. It's fucking awesome. And my cousin Steven took control of the new pizza. He's like, yes, we love the Borelli's pizza in East Meadow. It's cheesy. It's for like families. You get all the hockey kids from across the street. You get all the little leaguers. You get them in, they eat a cheesy pizza. That's what it is. He's like, I want to make a pizza that's going to make an impression on people, like a wow, an 8.5 to 9.0. Dave Portnoy, like you got to make a trip to go try this pizza. And he really has studied pizza for years. He was in Colorado. He was in Boulder doing beer, doing all this stuff. He figured this out. He's fucking incredible at making pizza. So I'm nervous about Dave eating this thing. And I get up to him halfway through him trying this pizza. You could see the video. I sprint. I'm out of breath. I'm like, what the fuck's going on around here? Are you guys kidding me? Dave loved the pizza so much so that he goes, he comes up to me, he goes, I have to go, I'm going to go review it. He goes, this will be like an 8 or a 9. That's how good this pizza is. He hugs my dad. When Dave leaves, me, my mom, my dad, my Aunt Angela, Stephen, we all hug. My dad's hysterically crying. My dad legit couldn't stop crying because he's like, I can't believe it. He's looking at my cousin Stephen. He's like, it's a new generation. It's a new pizza. He's like, so many people are going to come to Long Beach now to try this pizza. He's just thinking about all these things. It was so cool. And now take that experience and times it by 40.
Right.
Dave went to every single place, made these people feel like the most special people in the world, because they are. It's small business. It's Italian fucking culture of like big families, multiple generations. Dave's putting them on a pedestal of being like, these people matter. So fucking cool, man. The fact that people try and take this guy down, Dave Portnoy, is insane. He's just doing things that nobody else is doing for people. Like he's in a position where he can do whatever he wants. He's got all the money in the world, and he's taking his time in the pouring rain to bring 45 pizza places, pay them all, make sure that they're all set up, and everyone in the world can go try these pizza. It's amazing. It's amazing what he ends up doing. It's crazy. So amazing event. I'm glad you brought it up. I actually forgot to talk about it.
It was just as a guy who just went and was just wanted to eat a bunch of pizza. The lines were moving, people were moving, they were putting out pizzas like crazy. Yeah, it was. I can't imagine the event going any better outside of the rain. But even then, like I said, if you go, it's raining. Let's just fucking do it. It was
How'd
a lot
you
of
pick
fun.
which places to eat from?
You ate them
can't
all,
eat
dude.
40.
You just go to
can
them
eat
all, dude.
40 slices of
I think I
pizza?
had 85 slices of pizza that day. I just kept eating. I was there since 9 a.m.
I probably had 25 to 30, and there were little slices. I mean, there were different sizes at each one, but they were mostly like little bites that you just.
Okay.
It's not a full slice of pizza.
Did you
every
try
one.
artichoke pizza that was right next to Borelli's?
No,
So
that's
it's like
one I didn't get.
all these slices, everyone's eating cheese, and they're like little thin slices. And then right next to us was Artichoke Pizza, which is a famous pizza spot. And they have this huge slice of just artichoke cheesy pizza. I ate that and I was like, oh no, like I am going to be so full now. It was like, Prince Street had their iconic square pepperoni slice. That's a full meal. That's a full meal to be
Right,
eating
some
that
of
in
them
the
were
midst
like
of
the thicker, yeah.
in the midst of 40 slices. That's a full fucking meal. So yeah, there were a couple of decisions that you had to make where you were like,
Yep.
I've eaten a ton of pizza today.
I loved Federici's. I loved Sally's. The Borelli's pizza, very good. And this place Aces, which was the thicker. I think was Aces, thicker with the cheese on the crust and the pepperonis. It was just
Aces, was that from Vegas? Did they say?
I don't know.
There was a place called Aces, I think, what we did in Vegas that Dave really liked, and they're always at like the pizza expos and shit. I bet that was them. But yeah, iconic event. In the sun, it would have been. I mean, that thing would have lasted all day, all night. People would have been on the floor eating pizza.
Josh Isner was there. I ran into him.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
A
Jizzy.
couple of the boys. Connor was there. Tall Connor. I just saw him coming from a
Jesus
mile
I'm
away.
at the Borelli's tent, and he goes, "What are you, nuts? I lost my mind."
And seriously, shout out to Teddy Swims. I'm like that Shaq meme. I was not familiar with your game in the past, but like Frankie and I were listening to him a little bit at where the fuck were we? Oh, Charlotte, Barstool Classic on the first tee, and he has an incredible voice. And then he had a great performance at the Pizza Fest. So if you haven't listened to Teddy Swims, give that guy a listen.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, it's a big week. As we mentioned, it's the biggest week outside of maybe the Masters that we get. We only get it every 2 years. So fucking a lot of Ryder Cup hype, a lot of Ryder Cup hype as well. So make sure you go check that out. 2 p.m. each day, I believe, is what time these bad boys come out. We got 3 videos. One's already out. And then depending on what happens, there could be a 4th video on Thursday. So we'll see. That's on the Barstool YouTube channel. Big shout out to our guys. Big shout out to all of our sponsors as usual. Big shout out to our merchandise. Please go buy some. PGA Tour Superstore, store.barstoolsports.com. And we'll be back on Thursday. It'll be our last show before the Ryder Cup begins. And then we'll do programming note. We will get up Sunday evening, our Ryder Cup, knee-jerk reaction podcast. Frankie and Dan will be live from Rome. We'll be doing our thing, holding it down here on this side of the pond here in the United States of America. So a lot of good stuff happening. Thank you for tuning in. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.